You are about to enter a zone like no other. A zone which is uncensored and unfiltered. Starring Noel Glynn with Cheryl Glynn. Also starring Teddy the Terrier. You are watching the official TARDIS Zone. Prepare yourselves. This will be a trip of a lifetime.
Hello everybody and welcome to the TARDIS Zone Live. Yes, we've got our ratings stream. Okay, so it went up by 50,000, I think, altogether. But the big story is not actually the gain in viewership for last week's episode. Well, not last week's episode, but the overnights this week. But the big news is, Can You Hear Me? Has turned out to be is the first episode in 30-year history of the 30 years, since 30 years, I should say, not 30-year history, because it has over 56-year history. But for over 30 years, Can You Hear Me has not got inside the top 30. So my question would be to the J-Bots, well, how do you class that as a success? Now, I've been looking at a couple of threads and it's been interesting to hear the excuses from the J-Bots. And it's the usual thing, right? I just want to let you all know something anyway, firstly, right? Not everybody is on Twitter, for starters, because you're blaming people on Twitter, right? Putting the public off. Right, whether you like to believe it or not every single member of the public is on Twitter. So that excuse alone is weak and pathetic, right? Then he's made another excuse saying that that's not being promoted, right? It's being promoted on Twitter, and on BBC One they show the trailer every day, right? A couple of times a day the trailer is shown. So this trailer, it is getting out there. The problem is the writing is bad. And the problem is that nobody is actually interested anymore. Now, so the ratings for this week, I have them here. So we'll have a look at them, right? But here's the problem, right? All these J-Bots think, right? It was the same when the general election came around. It was the same when the US presidential election came around. Everybody on Twitter said Hillary was going to win, right? She didn't, because not everybody's on Twitter. Everybody said that Boris Johnson was going to lose to Jeremy Corbyn. Didn't happen. Boris Johnson won, right? They said the thing about Brexit, right? No, but not everybody lives on Twitter. You need to get that out of our heads right now, right? Everything is not controlled on Twitter. Some people have this like arrogance about them, think that like because they say something on Twitter, they've got some sort of self-importance and everybody listens to them. Not all the public is on Twitter. So that excuse alone is actually, as I said earlier on, pathetic. But we will look at the score. We will look at, and I'll show you this because this is unbelievable, right? So this is classed as a success, right? Which kind of, right? So there we go. As you can see there, right? So it went. As you can see, it went from 3.81 million last week to 3.86 million this week, right? But so there's a little bump there, okay, not much, right? But this is the figure that's interesting. Look at this. For the first time in 30 years, the consolidated figures are down just under 5 million, and even the +4 screen there. And look at the AI. I'm starting to understand what the AI means because Eddie's been explaining it. And this 78 is absolutely pathetic. This series is not a success. The J-Bots can say whatever they want. They can make all the excuses that they want. The public have turned off. Okay, and nobody on Twitter is influencing the public because not everybody is on Twitter, right? Another thing, you keep making excuses up about, well, people watch TV in different ways. Well, that's why we have overnights, consolidated figures, the +4 and the AI. They take everything into consideration. And if you look across the board, every week they go down, except for week 4. You can see that the AI actually went up to 79 there, but it was 82 the first 2 weeks, then dropped down to 77. Got a bump up in episode 4, a bump up in episode 5, but look, episode 6 and episode 7 down again, right? They can make up all the excuses they want and say that ratings mean nothing. Look, at people wouldn't be making a big deal out of ratings like Doctor Who TV and all these other journalists if ratings didn't mean that, right? And BBC do take these all into account. So as I've been saying from the beginning, still keep sending in your complaints to the BBC about the show. Tell them why this show is not working for you. And tell them that they need to seriously start taking a look at these ratings. Now, some people have suggested that this 3.86, 3.81 may be where it will level out at. So the series will probably finish on the 3.8 mark, is what some people are saying, because it's the 2 specials. I don't know. I don't. At this stage, does anybody really care? I mean, this just goes to show that this show is in trouble. It's in serious trouble, and these people need to wake up. These people need to wake up. Imagine. I mean, listen. I don't know how they could take. Eddie Ascaro put up a tweet as well, and it's spot on. And he was like, how can you call this a successful series? How can you call it successful? You can't. Now, apparently, last year, if I'm correct, this series lost over I think it was 3 million. We're on course to lose 4 million this series, right? So we're going to lose 1 million more than we did last year. And these people that are defending this, don't realize that. But listen, Ben, I know what you're saying. The overnights won't won't go below 2 million. Of course, they won't. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. That would help, but that's not going to happen. But listen, this is not good enough, and BBC know it, right? The fandom, they're already dealing with complaints from last week's episode. You can obviously see, look, I mean, it's clear to see that this fandom anyway, and some of the public out there are not happy with Doctor Who. So we still, look, I wouldn't be too disheartened. This is actually this is good news. It is good news because we're on course to lose 4 million. We're on course to lose 4 million. 4 million people would have walked away. So this is positive news. I know you're probably saying, but how is it positive news? This is not Doctor Who. We've got to remember that. This is some hybrid of a show that we used to love. And the lower it goes, the better, in my opinion. Last night's episode, I'm at the being looking at all the articles last night, the early articles last night. This episode was getting a 5 out of 5 off some people that gave last week's episode a 3 or a 2, right? I mean, you can't. I don't know why they're giving it a 5 out of 5. Now, Cheryl is less militant than I am, right? But even Cheryl was laughing at places in this episode where you weren't really supposed to be laughing, but it was just that, as I said, it felt like it was just a comedy by accident. Until the lone Cyberman turned up, it was actually pretty crap. I'm reading comments of people saying, oh, this was the creepiest episode. The tension was great. Yeah, the tension wasn't bad, but nothing was happening. You saw a creepy hand come out of a picture. You seen a little girl and this older woman, and that's never explained either, right? I mean, things do happen. But if that's the level of scary now, or maybe it's just because I've been desensitized to scary stuff now because I used to watch horrors as a kid. But that was not scary last night. Are people that much? I don't know. Has people's perceptions of scary changed? Is like just like a flashing image of a girl and an older woman just appeared on the screen, just like
I scream all the time. So
I don't get it. It wasn't. It wasn't. Ask anybody that watched this episode will agree with me. Up until the lone Cyberman came along, nothing really happened. The most funniest thing that was happening was Graham looking for the toilet. Right? Seriously, Graham looking for a toilet when there was no toilets in that time, and then when he figures it out, then his reaction is priceless. Right? It was the only thing that was decent in that episode last night. Right? Even the lone Cyberman and the design. I'm sorry. It just goes to show you that they ran out of budget, because it looks like they just threw together. I know what I think I know what he tried to do, Chibnall. I think he tried to appeal to the classic fans with the Cyberman design. But I'm sorry, right? This is 2020 now, right? Even though I don't like the RTD Cybermen, it's at least he upgraded them and gave them a slight redesign. You've kind of went backwards with your design. That's what it looks like to me. He's gone kind of backwards with his design. It looks cheap, I'm sorry, but it looks cheap, and I don't like this whole, and I agree with people on the panel last night, this whole thing of half of the face mask gone, and you can see your man's face, just pissed me off. It was, and someone made a great point last night. And it was only after they made it and I realised. Take a look at that lone Cyberman very, very carefully, and you will see that there is rip-offs, that he is ripped off the Borg of Star Trek Voyager or Star Trek Next Generation when they first appeared in the series, right? Okay? He's ripped off the Borg. They've got bleeding. Okay, I know that the earliest version, apparently, or one of the early versions, or this could be a parallel. We still don't know what's going on because we still didn't get any Gallifrey business. We don't even know what's happening with Gallifrey either. This is what I'm talking about. This is why the ratings are down. And you can make all the excuses you want. And I see all these YouTubers that have been defending this series are on overdrive all of a sudden. They're on overdrive trying to pick this series up, trying to encourage people. You can't encourage a piece of shit to watch this. Okay, that's how bad it is. I'm sorry, but that's just the bottom line. It's bad. It's bad. And last night was not scary. Was anybody genuinely scared last night? In the comments there. Anybody genuinely scared, let me know. I'd be interested to know if there was any of you actually scared, because I'm telling you now, I sat there and I was laughing. Curious to know how you're calculating the 4 million drop off for this series. Well, if you look at how many people watched the series from the beginning, and you look at how many are watching now, we will hit the 4 million mark, or we are at the 4 million mark, or we're getting close to it anyway. But you look, that's how we judge it. You judge it from how many people watched at the start of Series 12, and then you look at the cut-off so far. And you can see the numbers are down, and it does look like we're on course. So, look, nobody likes this. It doesn't matter if my figures are off even by 1 million. Right? But they're not. They are off by 1 million. But even if they were, right? Bottom line is, right? The overnights, the 7-day consolidated, and the AI, and as I said, the what the other one? They're not the AI, and the +4, right? They're either they're down. Right? Most of them are down. There's a couple of times during this series that it's peaked up. Jordan Key, and if you actually look at it, it's interesting. The episodes that seem to have gotten the peak are the ones that have had the major spoilers. So again, without those major spoilers, and I said this last night, if you look at if Captain Jack's cameo wasn't shoot in, would anybody have known about the lone Cyberman or known that this was leading up to this. No. So for me, this whole lone Cyberman thing, as I said last night, to me seems to be a last minute thing that they come up with. So again, this all started even before Series 12 started anyway. When the rumours of Cardiff and all broke, the discontent behind the scenes, even BBC's own radio interview presenters on one of their smaller BBC channels actually even admitted during Series 12 or Series 11 that there was tensions and troubles behind the scenes. That carried on into Series 12. Chaos in Cardiff happened. Chris Chibnall did walk off and he left his team. This is what I believe happened, right? This is not someone telling me this. This is my own theory. This is what I believe happened. He went off. He was told not to do something, whatever it was. He had a hump. He walked off. He went missing for a while. Then they got obviously what's his name, Pete McTeague to take over. Right, he took over. They assembled their series. Chris Chibnall didn't like what they did. He came back then, obviously. Then we got the shoe-in cameo by Captain Jack. It's so obvious that was actually showed in. And you can see that this series has been extensively re-edited and reshot. It's not cohesive. If you look at every single episode, it jumps from scene to scene. There's not one continuous scene. I think even last night in the house, it kept jumping from different place to different place. And that's because obviously we've got as many companions as we have. So I think someone put the numbers up there, did they? Hold on. Yeah, that's what I said. But can you hear me is the lowest. I said that at the start of the stream. It is the lowest. Apparently, it's the lowest in 32 years. Which, is apparently a success. And this is the point of this stream. I'm just asking, how can people say that Doctor Who is a success? You can't. And the excuses are wearing thin now for these guys. I think they know the game is up. That's why you seen even last night I was trolled. They're trolling a lot of the YouTube channels. They know that the game is up. They know that the public, right? It doesn't matter even about Doctor Who fans, we made it clear where we stood with this series anyway, right? Some of us have actually went through the pain of watching this, so others don't have to, and to do reviews. But we watched it, and I can honestly say that I thought Series 11 was boring. There's a bit more to Series 12, a little bit more to Series 12, but if you take all those away, it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's just as boring as Series 11. There's no substance there, and the public don't like being preached to either, whether the BBC like it or not. They don't want to be hammered over the head with the climate change and the plastic rubbish. They've been hammered across the head with it all the time. Anyway, when they watch Doctor Who, they want to escape from reality, and that's the whole point. We don't want to be preached to. We want to be entertained, and as I said, BBC actually put out a hit piece on fans saying we're self-entitled. Now, I was supposed to do that video today. Well, that's streamed today for that. But I'm going to leave that until maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. Because I have the stream tonight. Obviously, I'm on later on tonight at 10. Hopefully, we'll have a few guests on. Ian. We normally get Ian on, and everybody likes Ian, so we'll get Ian on and stuff. Exactly, Thomas. We want escapist fun, not down to earth lecture from a person who isn't even from this planet. Exactly, but I get what you. But you're right. Bang on. That's what I mean. Well done, Randy. Randy thinks she's the best Doctor Who. Have you watched any of the other Doctors? I'm just interested in knowing because I don't know how you think she's the best Doctor Who. Um, you know, if she's good to you, that's fine. But how you think she's better than Tom Baker or even uh, Sylvester McCoy? No, I'm sorry. Peter Capaldi. She's not better than Peter Davison. Um, Maybe Colin Baker because I'm not a fan of Colin Baker, but that's even stretching it. I'm sorry, but she'd be last on my list. She'd be last on my list. And beauty has nothing to do with anybody playing the Doctor either, though. But this is the thing, like she's beautiful, so apparently that's good enough for her to play the Doctor. You know, we just want someone to play the role the way it's supposed to be played. Do you know what I mean? Just play the role the way you're supposed to play the role. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. Play the role the way you're supposed to. Do the research, treat the role with respect, and actually treat the fans with respect. And maybe people would have got behind her, but she didn't do any of that. So, you know, that's why we have our disagreements with her. She didn't do any of that, and she admitted all of that. You know, so if you do that, you're not putting yourself on the right footing with Doctor Who fans. The public might be okay with that, but at the end of the day, there's a fan base of this show that's been built up for over 50 years. So they're the fans. The public more involved, but this is why we see happen. This is why this is why the ratings are. This is why everything is happening the way it's happening. Because the simple fact of the matter is that the public have just had enough. They don't like it, and if they don't like it, how do they expect Doctor Who fans to like it? The only ones that like this are Jodie Whittaker fans, and those few Doctor Who fans that are just their loyalty is just so they're never gonna, you know, it doesn't matter if it has Doctor Who on the name, they'll watch it, you know. But there's few like me. Well, I say few like me. There's many like me that believe, you know, the character should be played a certain way, you know, should be played by a certain gender. Might upset some people there. You can call me sexist if you want it, but it's been proven if you put a woman in the role of the Doctor, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Some will argue that Ruth, everybody praised Ruth. I did as well. But if I'm being honest with you, we only praised Ruth because it doesn't take much to overshadow Jodie Whittaker, to be quite honest with you. And Ruth is a better actress. Oh, that's not her name. Jo, wasn't it? Yeah, Jo was a better actress than Jodie Whittaker. So her performance was obviously going to be better. So I think that's why Doctor Who fans got behind Ruth's Doctor, is because Jo's performance was so much better than Jodie Whittaker's. And when you've got a lead in the show that has been overshadowed by someone that is basically playing the same role as her for 5 minutes. Remember, all we've seen of Jo's Doctor was about 5-6 minutes, maybe. Right? Yeah. And the thing about it is the fact that she was a much better Doctor because she acted better than Jodie Whittaker. And yeah, she will definitely get the praise because she deserves it. And the fact, as my wife has rightly pointed out, and I've read the articles as well, actually, because I put one up. Ruth is a long time fan, Whovian of the show. So, you know, that was a plus in my opinion. I still do think the Doctor should be played by a man, but that's just my personal opinion. But, you know, things change, and now it is canon whether we like it or not. that the woman, that the doctor can change gender all of a sudden. Unless a new writer comes in and retcons all that, but we'll have to see. But this is what's happened. I see a few new people in the chat. Just Google TARDIS team. You just Google BBC complaints. It will come up. A link will come up. You click into it, right, and then it'll say you can send an email or you can ring them. We'll send an email. It'll give you options. Then go in to send an email. It'll ask you to compose your email. You'll have to give a few details. Your email address, obviously. They'll ask you if you want to reply. And of course, I asked for a reply, but I'm told I'm going to be waiting 2.5 to 3 weeks. So we'll see if I get a reply off the BBC. If I do, I'll throw it up and show you. But just Google BBC complaints and it comes up. It's simple as that. It's just Google BBC complaints and it comes up, and just follow the link to the email and then you're sorted. Loads of people, seriously, this has been fantastic because a lot of fans have finally had enough, and BBC are dealing with, they said it themselves, they're dealing with a large number of complaints, more than normal. And that's because me and a couple of others, I'm not taking, obviously, praise for this because it was other Doctor Who fans that were obviously disgusted at the way Graham's cancer in the show was just dismissed. BBC still don't think they've done anything wrong there either, which is kind of baffling. I mean, you think they would actually, with everything that's going on, you know, you think they would be a bit more sensitive when they could see that one of their biggest shows is going down the pan, you know. And by the way, what the J-bots and what other YouTubers that actually defend this era don't realize is that BBC Studios lost money, right? And the reason why BBC Studios lost money is because BBC depend on their two biggest IPs. Now, what people don't realize is their two biggest IPs or the two biggest franchises are Top Gear and Doctor Who. Now, I've brought this up a couple of times, but just to let you know, you J-bots know something, right? So the BBC, they lost 300 million, right? The reason why they lost 300 million is because Top Gear is not doing great in the ratings and Doctor Who's not doing great in the ratings. Now, you probably say, but ratings have nothing to do with that. Well, you see, you're wrong there. And this is why you have always been wrong. See, without ratings, you're knobheads. Without as many people watching, you're knobheads. Nobody goes out there and knows anything about the merchandise or knows anything about the show. So why do you think people make a big deal of the ratings? Because the more people that are watching means the more successful it is. I don't know where we got in this world where apparently the least time you watch, or the less rated a show is, the more successful it seems to be now. I mean, if you look at it, right, for example, Birds of Prey, not doing well, but apparently that's a success. Terminator Dark Fate bombed, but apparently to the feminists out there, right, it was a success. We had the Abomination that was Charlie's Angels. Apparently that was a success as well. Give me the Drew Barrymore Charlie's Angels any day of the week. I'd watch that bleeding all the time over this piece of shit, right? And then we had that Abomination Ghostbusters 2016, and apparently that was a rating success. These people are living in some sort of bubble, or living in some sort of reality where they don't actually understand ratings, right? If the ratings are down and you're not making money on a product, it's a failure, you idiots, right? It's not a success. It's a failure. It actually annoys me. It actually annoys me. By the way, Chuckzilla, anybody that's looking for the BBC, to contact the BBC, Chuckzilla is at the putting it in the live chat there. I would advise you all, every single person that's in this live chat now, there's 55 of you, right? 55 of you could send in an email, right, to the BBC, right? Tell them your reasons why you don't think this show is actually good. And as I said, give some actually some examples, because it'll make you, it'll make your point come across better. Also, they won't be likely to dismiss it just offhand. Also, make sure you ask them for a reply, so you know that you actually get that they've actually read your email, right? Now, listen, I've put it up there. Don't forget to email the BBC with complaints about the series. Please do. There's 50 of you now. As soon as I said there's 55 of you, 5 of you legged it. But there's 50 of you now, right? Please do me a favor. Send a constructive criticism, right? That's all we want to do. We don't want any sexist crap or, I don't like because Jodie went, right? Keep that out of it. Right, just talk about the writing, talk about stories in general, talk about the way they dismissed Graham's cancer, talk about the issues, the social issues that they actually cover and how they're not executed well, stuff like that. Right, get your points across. And I'd advise anybody out there, even the bigger YouTubers, if there's anybody, any of you that come across my video later on, because I know some of you do watch, because you have given me a shout on the past. If you could do the same as well on our channel, if you could actually put the link up in our live chat and ask people to actually, especially the bigger YouTubers, which are going to be talking to Gary and Ballstreck and stuff later on, because if they did that, even at the end of their video, they even put it in the link description, right? Even if 100, look, they've got, Ballstreck has 30,000 subscribers, over 30,000, and Gary has over 100,000 subscribers. If you think about it, if even half of their subscribers, and I'm not saying half would, but even if half of their subscribers, that's a shitload of complaints. There's no way BBC can sweep that under the carpet. So I think, I see people out there still flogging petitions, right? And I don't know how many times I have to say it, because people keep sending me petitions. I told you already, and I don't mean to be rude here, but I'm not signing anybody's effing petition, right? I told you already, Series 11, there was over 20 petitions made last year. I even made one myself. I've checked it, right? They're dead in the water. No, but I didn't even reach my goal. And none of the other polls or petitions have reached their goal, right? So petitions are a waste of time. Complaining directly to the source, which is the BBC, is the best option, right? So if anybody asks you to sign a petition, you can sign it if you want to, but I'd rather you send an email into the BBC, a constructive criticism email about why you don't like the show. As I said, give some pointers, examples, make your case. That's the best way to do it. I'm sorry, but petitions don't work anymore. We've gone past the stage of petitions now, right? We've gone past the stage of petitions. The petitions are not going to work. BBC will ignore petitions, right? I mean, didn't the Game of Thrones fan have a petition and over 1 million people signed it? Didn't they at the time? And what happened though? Nothing. They didn't change the end of the series for anybody. No. So again, petitions, waste of time. Contact the source. And as Chuckzilla says as well, like, subscribe, share, and check your bell, because I am actually losing. This is what happens, right? I'll lose about 10 or 12 subscribers every night, but then I'll gain them back in a couple of hours' time, and then they're gone again. So YouTube is actually, because I've been told what they do is they do a purge of accounts. So yeah, just make sure that you still subscribe to me, and make sure that notification bell is hit, because we will have a live stream later on tonight. We'll have a panel of guests as well. But Doctor Who got really silly, and where was Captain Jack with the lone? And where was Captain Jack with the lone Cyberman? Yeah, exactly. That hasn't been explained either. I mean, how did Captain Jack know about the lone Cyberman? Exactly. Nick, you know what, Nicky? We got brains, but the other side are not even asking those questions. They just talk about how beautiful she looks in the candlelight or some crap like that, and how she, like, you know, she was beautiful when she delivered that line. You know, it's all about how good she looks. It's nothing about her acting ability or her talent. You know, you check the fans out, and I mean, you even have these. I name your top 5 episodes of the new Who. And all of a sudden, like, Jodie Whittaker's episodes are all like in the top 5, right? And when an actual one was done, a proper one on one of the bigger YouTube channels. I mean, I think it was Watch Mojo, was it UK? I think they did a top 10, or it was What Culture. Or it was one of them, and it was the top 10 worst episodes, and seven featured Jodie Whittaker episodes. 7. And that was before Series 12 even aired. So only 3 episodes of Jodie Whittaker, last year's series, Doctor Who fans thought weren't that bad. I know he goes on a little bit. I don't know where he put it, babe. Every time we do a stream now, he just, I think he does it deliberately to just get attention.
Hey, I don't know where it is.
See, I bet you it's in his bed. Ted is looking for his ball. Don't worry, I will have someone at Chris, me moderator last night, says to me, you better have Ted on because we didn't get to see him. So what I'll do is when I start in the stream, I'll have him. There's Chris and all. So I'll have Ted on at the start of tonight's stream for you, Chris.
Hey, I don't know where it is.
But he's having a little whinge because he's looking for his ball now.
And then he never looks in the direction where he
So-
lost it.
So I know that's the weird thing. He never shows you where it is. But again, let's recap. Right, so last night's episode got a bump. So as I showed, it was we get it back up again. I don't even know why I took it off the screen. That's actually ridiculous. Hold on, just to show you. What, Mammy feeding you?
He is ball behind there. He had to show me where it was.
Oh, he showed you where it was. Right. Let's show you these figures again. Obviously, when we have the panel tonight, we'll go into more detail as well. We'll check out the other sites as well, the other rating sites. Let's see how the audience. Be interested to see what Rotten Tomatoes. Even though, you know, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes anymore, but it's like, you know, still, it's nice to check out. So is that up on the screen for you all? No, it's not, because, you know, I'm not an expert, but I'm getting there. Right, there we go. Right, so as you can see, have I shared it? Watch, I bet you I haven't even shared it. Oh, I have. Oh, I'm getting better at this. Right, so as you can see there, as we have said, it was 3.81 million last week. In the consolidated, it was 4.77, and then the plus 4 was 4.9. Now that is the lowest we have been told in over 30 years, and these fans still call this a success. Now look, see, this is why they don't have an argument anymore when it comes to ratings, right? So you got the overnights, you've got the consolidated, and then they take into account, obviously, people watching on different platforms, and this is what this is here, right? And as you can see across the board, it's not looking good. Now, obviously, this week got a bump, but this is the figure that everybody should be looking at, right? The 4.9, right? That's the first time, apparently, in over 30 years that it's been this low. Now, if that is a success, well then, I didn't know failure is the new success. You know, I should fail at everything, because apparently I'll be patted on the back and congratulated. Because that's the society that would see, look, this is a whole bigger issue. This isn't just about television. It's all interconnected. We just live in a society where everybody, failure is not, when you failed back in the day, especially if people knew you, and they expected you to be better, you'd be a disappointment, right? That's just the reality of the situation. Nowadays, you're not allowed to be disappointed with anybody or with anything, because you can't, because if you do that, you put someone's confidence down. We mollycoddle people. It's actually getting ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is a failure, right? And you J-bots need to wake up. Failure, 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 right? No excuse. This is your fault, by the way, not ours. You can blame us all you want. All of this is your responsibility, right? And I'll probably stay around the 3 million for the next two. But we're not. It'll be interesting to see, though, if this goes any lower. And if this goes any lower. If these two go any lower and this goes any lower, it's game over. Especially this. If the AI goes down past, if it goes down, there's the low, 77, right? If it goes past 77, if it goes lower than 77, if we hit the 76, 75 mark, it's game over. And then they can say whatever they want. It won't hit the 2 million mark. It won't get that low, unfortunately. It's too late for it to. If we had another 2 episodes to go, 4 altogether, we had another 4 to go. We actually did 12 that he was supposed to do. Then yes, we'd be in a much worse situation. But look, they can make as I said, make all the excuses you want. It's a failure. And you need to take responsibility for this. The BBC, you need to take responsibility, and you need to ask yourselves the question, instead of actually doing hit pieces where you say fans are self-entitled, maybe you should actually listen to those so-called self-entitled fans, and maybe you might be able to save Doctor Who from being flushed down the toilet, because I do know that BBC don't want this show to go. Years ago, that might have been the case, but I do know for a fact that BBC are keen on keeping this show going. They want it to be a success. So if that's the case, then prove it. And how you prove it is you listen to the fans, you listen to those complaints, and then you take the necessary action that's needed. And for me right now, the necessary action that's needed is Chris Chibnall, his writing team, Jodie Whittaker, and the fam to be thrown out. Gone. You get rid of everybody. Everybody, including the Time team, anybody associated with this era that has been a heavy supporter of this era, you get rid. And you start from fresh, and you bring in a more balanced team, right? Start with the Time team. Right, you remember on the Time team, you used to have older people on the Time team. You replaced them with all mid-20s people in their mid-20s, right? People that had only came to the show in the 2000s, right? You need to be getting the classic fans like us more involved. So when you bring in the new Time team, you bring in half and half. You bring in half of young people and half of the older fans, and you get them to mix up in teams and to do reviews of each episode. You get to see their point of view, and you get to see a classic fan's point of view on the same episode, right? That's how you do it. And then I'd bring back Murray Gold, as I said, and I'd bring back two showrunners. I'd bring back a classic writer, and I'd bring back a new Who writer, even from the RTD or the Moffat era, right? Start from there, and then I'd cast a man as the Doctor, and then get the right companion in, right? Get the right companion in, and then all you need then is decent stories. And trust me, The reason why Stephen Moffat's era started to fail was because he started to put unbelievable things in his writing and left a lot of loose ends, right? And then when he did try to tie up those loose ends, he never really executed it properly. So it always let us down. But this is a plan that can happen. So if anybody from the BBC is listening, you get rid of Chris Chibnall, you save this show. You don't get rid of him and you stick with him for another series. Trust me. If you think this series 12 was bad, series 13 will be bad. It'll be worse. We'll see what happens. Right, guys, I'm going to go because I'm going to go and get something to eat. Then I have Manchester United to watch, the first game we've had in 16 days. And then I'll be back with you later on with a panel. And we will discuss this more. We'll discuss the rest of the fallout. We will see what people have to say, actually. And we'll take some of your comments as well, guys. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. So let me know in the comment section when this stream goes up. What is the Doctor Who ratings a success to you guys? Because certainly to the J-bots, these ratings are actually good enough. Has the lowest consolidated or whatever it is, or the lowest rate. It's the lowest rated episode in over 30 years. And that says everything. And that is like absolutely just ridiculous. And Chuckzilla has put up, just before I go, Chuckzilla has put up that complaints, the link for the BBC complaints. So please, guys, keep those emails going in. As I said, you know, state your case, you know, give examples, you know, come across as, you know. And it'd be better, to be honest with you, I would only advise those that have watched the series or watched a few episodes to comment or to email. There'll be no point, they'll see through the ones that aren't. And we're trying to make a difference here. So I'll catch you all later. Good night for now. See you soon. And hopefully we'll have a cheery Ted and I'll be able to bring him on for you all. Why is this happening? See you guys.
Have all been watching the official TARDIS Zone. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Do not forget to comment, like, share and subscribe for more Doctor Who content.